Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It has been a little while since I posted. I feel like I say that almost every video because it kind of has been a little while since I posted. Um, the thing I want to two things that I want to talk to you about today. The first being willpower. I get asked a lot, or told a lot, that I just don't have the willpower that you have. And what I say to that is, from the outside perspective looking in, it appears that I have an insane amount of willpower to be a bartender and to be able to work in an environment that is alcohol, that the primary mode of success is selling alcohol and the consumption of alcohol. And it would seem like there's a lot of temptation working in that field, and that I would require a lot of willpower to abstain from ever succumbing to those temptations. What I also say is that it's not that I am sitting there using all of my mental energy to constantly keep these temptations at bay, but it might appear that way. It might look like I have this willpower from an outside perspective. What it is that I have allowed myself to believe the truths that I know to be true, right? So one of them is knowing that alcohol will never, under any circumstances, make my situation better. Currently, I'm in my second month of meet prep for my second powerlifting meet. I have this twingy feeling in my left glute that I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is and try to get rid of it. I have a tooth here that basically has a hole in it, and it's very sensitive, and I need a root canal, and I have coverage that is starting tomorrow, and the dental office opens the next day, so I've been in a fair amount of pain. And the point in which I say that is because there are plenty of reasons that you could justify falling back on and drinking. But because I know alcohol will never make my current situation any better, you have to apply that to your life. You need to know, okay, well, even though I'm in a particularly shitty situation, alcohol is not going to help it. And by continuously applying that knowledge to your situations, it becomes habit, it becomes new form. And I don't ever, it's gotten to the point that I don't even think about it. I know that alcohol will not help my situation. And I also, another fact that I take to be true is that I will never be able to drink responsibly. I'll never be able to just not think about the amount of alcohol that I'm drinking, because even if I did a little bit of drinking, that would convince me that I could probably have a little more and a little more. Before you know it, I'm just a regular drinker again. So really, willpower from the outside perspective looks like someone is just kind of using their mind and constantly keeping things at bay, but really it is just a set of doctrines that you make sure that you abide by. And by taking the guesswork out of it, and by just allowing yourself to know these facts and to believe these facts, it becomes easier, and it's not so much willpower. So if you were out and about and you're at a party, or you're at a New Year's party or a Christmas party or whatever, work function, and someone offers you a drink, or they don't know that you don't drink, it might be new in your journey in sobriety, and they're like, oh, let me grab you a beer. Rather than sitting there and contemplating whether you should have it or not, you fall back on that knowledge and you go, that will not make this situation any better, especially for someone like me. And so you just, without thinking, go, no, I don't drink. And if you ever have people that, try to kind of push that, that's where the openness and the honesty come into play. And you say, actually, I'm an alcoholic and I don't drink. Anyone tries to push it further than that is a toxic human being, because you are telling them very bluntly, I don't drink because I have a problem with drinking, therefore I don't drink. And if they push that any further, that's when you can then be a little bit meaner and be like, hey, fuck off, I told you I don't drink. And another fact that you have to remember is every positive, beneficial thing that has come about in your life in this new journey on sobriety is because you don't drink. There's no wiggle room there. You can't allow yourself to have any wiggle room. And by constantly hammering in this new way of thinking, it changes how you deal with situations on a case-by-case basis, and you string all of that along, and it looks like ironclad willpower. And what I'm trying to get at is that the aspect of having this super strong willpower isn't quite what people think it is. You're not just sitting there using all of your mental energy to withhold temptation. It is just a new pattern of thinking. And it, from the outside perspective, like I said, it will look like insanely strong willpower. But willpower is just that. It's just a new way of thinking and a new way of believing that the way your life can be positive and beneficial is only through these methods. So I don't believe that I possess any stronger willpower than a normal person. I just have allowed myself to believe the good things in my life come from me not drinking, and the bad things in my life come from drinking. So there really is no question and no thought process that has to go into it. You don't drink. Everything that is good in your life is because you don't drink, and anything that is bad in your life will come from you drinking. And by doing that over and over again, people will look at you and go, wow, that guy has a crazy amount of willpower to be able to go to a party or a club or go out dancing or be a bartender and do all those things and refrain from drinking. You're not missing out on anything, and I've talked about this in other videos where you feel like, oh God, I mean, if I stop drinking, I'm going to miss out. But if you're anything like me, you've been missing out for a very long time. And the second thing I want to talk about is that I am deactivating my Instagram and my Facebook. YouTube is not something that I find myself really wasting time on. I do watch educational videos on YouTube, and I try to further my own personal education, even after I got out of school, which really wasn't my preferred method of learning. I found I still had an appetite for knowledge, just in a different way that was more palatable to me. So if you find yourself still depressed in sobriety, and you find yourself spending a lot of time on social media, I implore you to, at the bare minimum, take a break, because social media isn't going anywhere. It's only up to you how you change your life to better suit yourself. So I'm not blind to the hypocrisy within my actions. I'm not the pot calling the kettle black. It is only because of my actions that I've come to this decision that I can easily spend too much time on Instagram and Facebook. And I ask you, what are the last 5 Instagram posts that you saw that were very meaningful to you, that changed your life, that did something beneficial for you? You probably won't be able to think of them. It's because it is the ultimate time waster. It allows us to just be comfortable burning away the minutes and the hours of our lives. And at the end of the day, I believe all we really have in this life is time. Time is the most valuable thing. Time with who you spend it with and what you spend doing. I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish in this new year. One of them being finishing this book. Second being learning and applying a lot of different skills. And thirdly, I want to learn a new language. And none of that will happen if I'm waking up and the first thing I'm doing is looking at my Instagram and my Facebook. I can't tell you how many times I've come home from work and I just want to sit down and relax really quick, and I find myself scrolling back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. And you feel, when you see that little red notification, you have to check it. And there have been studies done that show that when you see that little red notification, it lights up your brain just like you're going to take a hit of something, or before you're going to get that drink. It's that same pathological thought process. And I'm making the decision to eradicate that from my mind. Ultimately, I think there's just so much more in life that you can gain from it rather than looking down into a phone. And I think it's something that we all intrinsically know to be true, but it's easy to slough that off and feel like, well, I'll be disconnected from everyone, but ultimately I'm not any closer to my family. I may see some of the pictures and stuff that they post, but I'm not really conversing with them, and I don't have a heightened sense of communication with them. If anything, it's a cheap substitute for actual communication. By liking and commenting, it's cheap and it's hollow and it's quick, rather than calling your aunt and talking about what has been going on in her life and maybe actually going and meeting up with them. We substitute it with saying, oh yeah, I saw that, and that's cool that you went there, and a little bit of commenting, It may seem like a drastic step because everyone has social media, but honestly, I think, like I said, the most valuable things you have in your life are time and the relationships that you build. And I think I can make much better use of my time building better relationships with the people that are actually in my life, rather than a bunch of people that I don't know. There are plenty of people on my Instagram and my Facebook that I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And I'm looking at pictures and photos of people that I have no idea who I am. I'm just looking at other people's lives, and ultimately I don't think it's doing me any good. It's doing the exact opposite, and it's allowing me to be comfortable with wasting time. And I'm not going to do that anymore. So, in conclusion, willpower is not as hard to obtain as you think, and it's not exactly what you think it is. And secondly, social media quite possibly can be adding a lot of negativity in your life that you might view as a positive thing on the surface. So that is kind of my last video of 2018. I hope you guys can get something out of it. I'll continue to post to my YouTube, and I think there's a messaging function on here as well, even though I can never figure out how to find it or use it. But I'm not so much going anywhere as I am focusing more on my life and the things that I can do to make my life grow and be more beneficial and meaningful to me, and I implore you to do the same. As always, you guys, stay sober and Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.